I'm Shelley Johnson. I know it's spelled weird. We'll go into a little bit of that background in a minute. We are welcoming Acey Holmes today, and we're going to play your way to your next job. What are some innovating ways to have more fun, to create more positive movement, to decrease anxiety, to bring joy and wisdom? And some of those words you would not align most likely with a job search. So I've invited Acey to talk with us today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Acey's journey and what I've seen her do as a solopreneur and as an entrepreneur in the space of playing for a work design. Before that, welcome everyone. We had about 40 people RSVP. We've got about 20 here. Let's get started, okay? We are in year 2, maybe year 3 of Colorado Career Connectors. Actually, this is year 3. We started 3 years ago this month, so happy anniversary to Colorado Career Connectors. We have helped and serve and support over 4,000 people since our inception. And we started by having just online, especially think about March 21. COVID was still happening. We were coming out of COVID. The job market, if you think about what has changed since 2020, you remember the Great Recession, the Great Redesign, the Great Quiet Quitting. There's nothing great about having to find your next job unless you change your attitude, unless you change the way you think about it. Last year, 2023, let's just be honest, it was hard. It was a cluster, especially in the technology sector. Hospitality was going up while people in technology at companies well known in the FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, they were laying people off. I had people in cybersecurity, IT, network development, DevOps that had never, ever had a hard time looking for a role that are like, what is going on in this market? Now, we're still feeling some of that in 2024, but as a Vistage member, I do a few things. I own Colorado Career Connectors and Best You Talent Advisors. Best You Talent Advisors does 2 things. We are recruiters. We help small to medium-sized businesses scale their efforts and grow their teams. Currently, we have job openings in New York. We have an HR director in New York for a women's health clinic. We are looking for a medical supply inventory control manager, a senior accountant, all 4 women's health clinics that are scaling and growing like crazy in the New York metro area. We also are helping a business out of the DC area. It's called Head First. They are in the sports camp and they partner with the Orioles, the Padres, the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, to have summer camps. So if you are or know of someone in those areas, please let us know. So we help clients, not just in Colorado, but all over the country. Personally, I have helped to scale a project management business for United Kronos Group. We help construction, etc. And a job that I have coming up is to be the head of sales for a digital health company in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. This job is not just the head of sales, but is going to be the successor to the CEO. So we are recruiters. So we wear both hats. When I started my business in 2019, I left corporate. I was like, I can't handle corporate stress. I was like a refugee from corporate. I was no longer institutionalized, as many of my clients understand. And I started my business, and I am an executive coach. So I take 30% of my clientele are coaching clients, while 70% of what we do is community outreach, development, and focus on helping businesses to be their best. Tell us more about what you do. We'd love to hear that in the chat. And today we are going to focus on bringing you some amazing content. Before we jump into that, I'd like to introduce you to Yvette Bell. Yvette, if you can say hi. All of you may have seen her emails, seen our websites, seen our logos. Yvette is behind everything we do. So if you are looking for a logo, branding, websites, she is amazing, and so thrilled to have her as my partner, actually now for more than 3 years, if you can believe that. I can't believe that. So blessed and so abundant to have Yvette in our arena. Now, today, I see some people out there that you should get to know. I see some recruiters, and I see Lisa Carmen. Lisa, if you want to say hi. Lisa is one of my amazing resume writers, and she has done dozens of my client resumes. She and I partner a lot. She's done everything from IT to the head of a digital business to veterans, military. She just did my best friend's daughter's resume, and she just graduated from college. So Lisa, welcome. Super happy to have you here. Let's get to.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have to say, I was so excited when I saw this session. I was like, oh my God, I need some fun. I really, really need some fun. Okay.
How many of you need some fun? Right? If you're just joining us, welcome. Please let us know who you are and where you are calling in from. If you can, come on video. Jared, Jaya, Susan, Suzanne, come on. Come on. Nikki, Meg, Kevin, we would love to see you. It's a lot easier for us as speakers when we actually see the human behind the black hole. But if not, we get it. We're going to have some fun today. I wanted to just tell you how thrilled I am to call Acey a friend and someone that I have seen build her reputation, her brand, her business over the past 3 years. Acey is very well known in the HR space. She has spoken at Disrupt HR. She is disrupting how workplaces act, how they design performance for the future. And I went to one of her recent seminars, and we put paper airplanes together. We laughed, we talked, we learned. And so that's why I've asked her to come here today. Acey just spoke at TEDx Manitou Springs about the alignment of neuroscience in play. She is neurodiverse, neurospicy, as I like to call it. And she aligns and is an advocate for infusing workplace and lives with joy and connection. Now, those two adjectives are not usually used in workplaces because it's all about results. But with more enthusiasm and abundance and that vibrant sense of humor, when you're creative, don't you feel better? Isn't your stress less? That power of play and flow to enhance your productivity, your fulfillment, and your untapped potential. So Acey, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm so blessed to call you a friend. I'm so excited to see all of the things that you are doing. And as a job seekers out there, she is everywhere. She is networking her butt off. She is at Denver Startup Week. She is at Colorado Inclusive Economy. So she can give you some hints on the hustle, but making that hustle fun. So Acey, welcome. Super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. This is, well, play in general is my favorite thing to talk about, hands down. And I will talk about it to people everywhere, all of the time. And since I started doing this I guess 2 years, I think. It feels like 3, Shelley, but 2
years, wow.
One of the things I've enjoyed most is finding new audiences that find this interesting and can apply this to their own work. So I'm excited to be here with you all today. And we're gonna play your way to your next job. Sounds like a game show, doesn't it? A little bit. So I'm Acey Holmes. Shelly introduced me. We're not here for me. We're here about the stuff. So if anybody is interested in reaching out to me on LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to connect and would love to like meet you all in person, but we don't have to do all of that here. So today we're going to talk about the neuroscience of play. We're going to identify some skills and qualities that play can enhance throughout your job search and hopefully beyond. And then we're going to get to actual practical strategies and tips as well. But first, let's play. So if you grab that paper and something to draw with, you could also do this digitally, like if you have your phone next to you and you just have like a whiteboard app of any sort, you can try that out. So we're going to do 2 brief drawing exercises here. So the first one you're going to do is just a scribble. And I'm going to count down 6 seconds. That's all, actually 3. 3 seconds is all you get for the scribble. So just a literal scribble, right? So ready, set, go, scribble. 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay. Now take a look at your scribble, turn it. Maybe it's upside down, maybe you turn it sideways, and find a little place for a beak or for some little legs and a little eye, and turn your scribble into a bird. Anywhere you want the eyes or anything to go. And if anyone would like to share theirs, I invite you to show it on screen. Lisa's ready. Let's see, Lisa. Okay, I can see Linda's. Oh my gosh, Linda, that's a big boy. Oh no, Lisa's we can't see because it's blurred. Oh, Shelly's got like is it like curly haired? I have like a curly haired bird. It's like me. So that's a scribble bird. That's a really simple way to take, what did that take? 6, 10 total seconds without me jabbering in the middle of it, just to take a break. And so we're going to talk about why do that? Who cares about scribble birds as we go along. So make my mouse work. There it is. So here is my friend Jocelyn, and Jocelyn is trying to protect her mental health during her job search, which has everything coming at her, including her family, and she's just trying to keep breathing. So this is obviously, you all are living a form of this. So what skills, I'd like to hear from you in the chat, or you can pop off mute and just say, what skills do you think are necessary to protect your mental health in this time of your life? If anyone would like to share. Self-care. That's a good answer. We all look very thoughtful. Adaptability. Yep. That's for sure, right? Every day's a little different. And if we're not used to that. Meditation, one of your types of self-care. Good nutrition. Love it. These are great. So you guys are already thinking about this, of course. So I'm going to present a new way to help you protect your mental health. So this list is from Fairy Godboss. If anybody follows that page, I like the way they kind of write things. They're clever. And most of you have probably already heard this advice, right? These are kind of 5 big steps to protect your mental health. But today I'm going to invite us to really lean into this 4th one. So we're going to balance our job search with personal interests for well-being. Got really excited when I saw this because I was like, they could have just said play. That didn't have to be a sentence. Could have been a 1 word. Number 4, play. But I know why they didn't, because adults read play, especially the average working job seeking adult. We don't know what play means for us. So let's dig into that. Turns out that the greater scientific community that studies play, even for children, cannot come up with a solid definition of what play is. If you Google it, you'll find something about children or animals or being the opposite of work. But when you really start to dig in to the PhD teams that are studying this at the university level, grant-based research, all of that, they can't agree on one definition of play. So what I did was take a lot of their findings. I read a lot of research about this. The researchers are people like Peter Gray, Stuart Brown, Gokon Gunas, Renee Proyer. We'll talk about him more in just a minute. Arnold Baker. There's just a lot. Even the Lego Foundation does third-party research on just play, not their toys, which is pretty great. So I studied all of them and found the overlaps and the commonalities. And these 8 characteristics are what I theorize that play really is, especially for adults. So play is personal. It's different for everyone. Play brings you joy. Joy also happens to be quite personal. What you think is joyful, I might disagree. Play is beneficial. We're going to get to a direct list of those benefits next. Some aspect of play is optional. So when I work with corporate teams, sometimes we're talking about how to turn very required activities at work into being playful, but the optional key is it just only needs to be one aspect. So it might be something you have to do, but maybe you can have an option about how to do it, where to do it, when to do it, who to do it with, that kind of thing. Play needs to be actively engaging, and that doesn't have to be physically active. It can be cognitively or mentally active. Play needs to be iterative. We have to change it up a little bit, at least each time we do it. And these last 2 I leave for last because they're kind of linked. So play needs to be seemingly purposeless. So there's a lot of really cool outcomes that we can get from all types of play, but the outcome can't be the reason we're doing it. So we've got to be playing for the sake of the play itself, which leads into this concept of being intrinsically motivating. So we might get some external validation. There might even be a trophy for some forms of play, right? But that can't be the sole reason you're doing it. It needs to mean something to you. And then socially interactive is floating out here all by itself because play is not required to be social. Is there a ton of social play? Absolutely. But if you don't want it to be social, that's going to backfire. I mentioned early on in the chat, one of my favorite phrases, which is forced fun is never fun. Again, back to that optional piece. So when we're thinking about someone telling us what to do, that's going to completely skew what in just a minute we're going to talk about happens in our brains. And we're not going to get the neurochemistry that we need that plays beneficial. So if you want it to be socially interactive, then that could potentially level up some of the benefits, but is absolutely not required. Tons of solo play out there that meet all 8 of those characteristics. So when we play, we get these. Maybe you've heard of some of these neurochemicals. Dopamine is usually most everybody's heard of that one. It's kind of like the joy hormone, serotonin. That helps us regulate our stress and sometimes relaxes us. Anandamide, it's pretty much sole job is to relax us. It actually has similar effects as THC. Norepinephrine, huge player in stress reduction and stress regulation. Endorphins, that's that high that we get maybe from exercise, sometimes from other things. And this BDNF, my favorite neurotransmitter. Don't you have a favorite neurotransmitter? Anyway, brain-derived neurotropic factors, and those are directly responsible for neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is this ability of our brains to change and learn and grow. And for a long time, scientifically and clinically, the scientific world was telling us that our children's brains stop developing around 25 or 26. So your neuroplasticity when you're a child is just wonderful. I mean, so like that sponge that we talk about, we know kids learn through play. They're just learning, growing up. And then around our mid-20s, that just stopped. And so teaching your brain to learn. Doing new things was we were taught for a long time that it was really difficult, but it is not. We were so wrong. We were so wrong. And yay for us. Because the best way to encourage that neuroplasticity across our lifespan, which we now know scientifically is possible, is to play. Because this is when we get all of these neurochemicals in just the perfect doses. And these neurochemicals, I mentioned some of the benefits, but here's a list. This is a short list, not at all extensive. Many, many other benefits that fall into this. Review these briefly. Our physical benefits, if we have a physical form of play, we're going to have some cardiovascular function boost. We're going to increase our mobility. That's going to boost our energy. That's just basic physical science, right? That goes into there. So if your play is physical, those are some of the benefits we get. But the great part about play is that at the same time, even if it seems like just a physical form of play, we're also boosting our cognition and our mental health. So we're improving our critical thinking, our problem solving, our creativity, our collaboration. We're reducing stress. We're bringing on joy, as well as resilience and vulnerability. All just from play, just from play. So we get all those neurochemicals that bring all of that about. So let's do some of that right now. Again, you don't need paper for this one. And if you would like to turn off your camera during this, you can, but I would encourage you to keep it on, because I can promise you once we get going, nobody's looking at you. They're only looking at their own hands. So peace sign on one hand, okay sign on the other, just like the picture there in the screen, and just switch them back and forth. Back and forth. Peace sign, okay sign. There we go. I see smiles. I can't hear the giggles, but I can feel them through your smiles. So that is actually a direct neuroplasticity exercise. So there's a lot going on there that addresses, because your brain is trying to cross midline with the different things that you're doing. You've also participated in what is probably a novel activity for you. That's maybe something you've never done before. So that's okay. Nobody gets this right the first time. Yes, Daniela, it is exactly like patting your head and running your stomach. But that brings on the right neurochemical cocktail, if you would say, a dose to your brain that boosts that neuroplasticity. And the cool thing about some of those neurochemicals is they have multiple jobs, right? So dopamine is our joy hormone. Some of you were laughing a little bit, giggling, smiling, maybe at yourself, with yourself, whatever it might have been. But dopamine is also brought on just in anticipation of a novel activity. So as soon as I said, put your hands in the air, and you're like, I thought we were learning about the brain. What am I doing? Your brain starts to trickle dopamine to you. And you're instantly ready to learn, to try new things. You're more motivated. Dopamine also plays a huge role in our memory and our ability to learn. So it is pretty amazing. And Lisa, yes, your brain is crossing those neural paths, because the point is just doing it. There's no success, right? We're not getting it right or getting it wrong. And trust me, the longer I do this all the time, I end up accidentally flipping someone off. And that's okay, because I didn't do it on purpose. So play, right? That's it. Conversation over. Absolutely not. Of course not. So now that we understand why it's crucial to being a human, let's talk about how to squeeze it into that job search. So when I look back at that list of benefits and I think about my job seeker community here, I see 4 top benefits that support our mental health, specifically during a job search: creativity, reduced stress, resilience, and vulnerability. So the thing about play is that it's a practice. It's just like maybe mindful breathing. Most of us, at least, have tried mindful breathing, maybe, hopefully you have. Many of us practice maybe less than we should, speaking to myself here, but I do know that, when I have a good week and I do my conscious practice of mindful breathing, I find myself utilizing that mindful breathing throughout my day. right? So the more I do it, the more I do it. And play is the same way. So the more we play in these low stakes situations, the more these skills that we get start to present themselves in high stakes situations. So the more we do it, the more we do it. So, okay, but what is play? I know we went over the characteristics, but I'm a grown adult with a lot of responsibilities. How do we fit play in? So Shelly already mentioned paper airplanes. I do love making a paper airplane, and I don't normally do them on the virtual because we can't throw them at each other, and that's kind of the best part. But then I also realized all of you are missing out on making paper airplanes, so we're going to do it. So if you can grab just a piece of paper, any kind, and before you start folding it, we're going to write something on it. So what we're going to do is called the magic hour. And I have just become your fairy godmother. Hello, I have floated down, and I am here to grant you with my shiny rainbow mister with a magic hour. 1 full hour just to yourself. But there's always conditions, right? What are our conditions for this magic hour? One is that the world around you is frozen. Everyone you love is completely taken care of. They're happier than they've ever been. Your responsibilities are gone. You had the best sleep you've ever had in your life last night, and you actually had a really nice little cat nap just a few minutes ago. You're so rested. You just had a wonderful lunch that was delicious. It was exactly what you wanted, and you are perfectly satisfied. And everything else is frozen. So what would you do for your hour? Go to the dry cleaners? Absolutely not. It's frozen. You can't get there. Kids are taken care of. Your dog is asleep and frozen. Perfectly happy. Everyone will be restored in just 1 hour. What would you do for the next hour? That's just for you. And I'm going to give you a few minutes because this is a hard activity for most adults. So I'll give you a few minutes just to think about what that might be and then write it on your paper. Lisa, go ahead. You can unmute. Lisa, what's up? Pointing. You wrote a lot? You're good?
No, we're supposed to write it on our paper, right?
Yes. I'm sorry.
All the things we're doing.
Yep. It is just 1 hour, but you go for it, Lisa. Like this, all the things we're doing. Hey, you never know when that fairy godmother's going to come back and give you another one. And then once you get it written down, 1 or 2 things, just fold it into a paper airplane. And some of you might be going, okay, but where are the instructions? Tell me how to fold it. There are no instructions because this isn't paper airplane class. This is just you do something a little bit different out of the ordinary. As we're folding, if anybody would like to share what they wrote down in the chat, that would be cool to read, but not at all required. Mine is skiing in the Alps. Oh no, I forgot to tell you a huge one. Oh, the coolest rule is that you can go anywhere in the universe with any sort of equipment you might need. That's like the most important part. So if you want to rewrite, you can. Oh, we've got paint and walk at the beach. Now, Linda, is that at the same time? Because I recently saw somebody on Instagram has these cool little like tiny kits that they take with them everywhere, which I thought was pretty neat. Plant new flowers or paddleboard. Oh, Bridget, I haven't been paddleboarding in a long time. I love it. Make a yummy meal that lasts 3 days so I don't have to cook later in the week. Lisa, I have yet to have anyone come up with an idea where like lasts. That's amazing. Paint at the beach. Love it, Linda. This is amazing. These are wonderful. Okay, when you're done with your paper airplane, just you give it a shot. See where it goes. If there's somebody else in the room with you, just don't poke them in the eye. Sometimes that happens on accident. When I do. Shelly, you got me. Shelley's plane is flying over the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, so just getting you thinking about potential ideas for play, because what you wrote down is very likely the exact definition of those 8 characteristics of play for you. So that's a good start. But Linda's specifically, painting at the beach, that involves a lot of preparation and planning the trip and figuring out when to go, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of you are still going, okay, you want me to just randomly up and go to the beach? We live in Colorado. B, that takes a long time. So I present to you an opportunity for a mindset shift. So this here is the definition of the word playfulness: the ability to reframe a situation to be interesting, stimulating, or entertaining. Playfulness. This is a definition by Rene Proyer. He is a researcher in the personality science field and studied adult playfulness traits. He identified, I think it was, well, he had dozens at first, kind of whittled it down to 17, and he worked those into validation of 4 personal play identities. But playfulness as itself is just the ability to reframe a situation, any situation in your life, interesting, entertaining, or stimulating. And I want you to notice that the word fun is not in that definition. And it wasn't one of my 8 characteristics of play. Society and kind of mainstream media have really sort of co-opted the word fun, and especially if we're talking about at work. It's a different situation, but like I said already multiple times, forced fun is never fun. And just the encouragement of, oh, to support yourself, go have fun. That's starting to be kind of a trend in some recommendations, even in like, where did I see it most recently? I think the New Yorker, the Atlantic, that's what it was. Anyway, but people talking about, oh, just go play, go have fun. We've been removed from it for far too long. It's really hard to figure that out. So I love this definition, because even if you can't take the day and go painting at the beach, we can take something already on your schedule and reframe it, right? So we're going to do that now. I would like you to actually get out your calendar. If it's, open another browser on your screen, if that's where, if you use the Google Cal or an iCal, or grab your phone. And if you have a paper calendar, I want you to grab that too. And so now I challenge you, we're going to take about 5 minutes, maybe 7 actually, because we're kind of ahead of time. I want to have time for questions though, but about 5 minutes, and look through your schedule and look first for big chunks of time that you can say, oh, actually that next Tuesday, look, no one's scheduled a meeting here yet, and block it off. Okay. If you have one of those, there's not always a lot of those, but if you have one of those, block it off for yourself, put play, just write it in. We'll get to what it might be later, but first put in that play part. So look over your next week. Did anyone find one fast? You're like, oh, look at that, 3 hours. No, Frederico's like, absolutely not. Are you kidding me right now? Anybody? Yeah, figured not. So look for half hours, maybe 10 minutes, anything. Frederico's got one. 10 minutes, we've got one. And just block it off. Go ahead and block it off. And then if you're really struggling, you're like, absolutely not. I don't even have that. Not at all. Start to look at things that you do a lot. What's there that's recurring? Is it the gym? Is it walking the dog? Is it taking the kids to practice or rehearsal? What's there that's recurring, that's always there? And then find a way to make that specific thing that's already there. Don't change the thing, because if it's recurring, you probably have to do it or really should do it. Find a way to make it interesting, entertaining, or stimulating. And you may not be able to do that in 3 minutes, and that's okay. But I challenge you to like highlight it, make a note to yourself, and say, come back to this later. The gym is the easy one. Peter Gray, I mentioned him before. He just recently published an article on Psychology Today. And his argument is to stop calling exercise working out and calling it play out, which I obviously adore. So what aspect of exercise, some of you mentioned that as self-care, can you change to make it something that you enjoy? So I run. If I ran for the health benefits, I would never get out there. I'm a weirdo that actually does truly just enjoy running. I'm not fast. I don't go far, but it's one of my favorite ways to enjoy the outdoors. Shelly mentioned I'm a little neurodivergent. That's an ADHD, and walks are so wildly boring to me. Just take a walk. I can't. I'll never get out there. But for whatever reason, just a little extra speed, and it is not much. Trust me, some of you can probably walk faster than I can run, but it changes it up. It makes it optional. It makes it iterative for me, and running is play. But again, if it was all about fitness, weight loss, health, I probably wouldn't do it. That's not my motivation for it. So thinking about that for yourself. And if you have an exercise routine that you dread often, start to brainstorm other ways you can bring that movement into your life. A lot of the research that's coming out around exercise anyway is what we kind of traditionally know of as being good for us. Maybe it isn't. So it's like a really good time, even scientifically, to try something else and play out instead of workout. So you guys look like you're all still looking at your calendars, which makes me excited. Oh, Bridget, it's interesting, entertaining, or stimulating. Stimulating. Yep. Thank you, Shelly. So Lisa posted that she had a whole hour that says play for me. Did anyone else, at least Frederico, you found 10 minutes, right? Yes? No, 1 minute. 1 minute. You already have 2 options you can fill 1 minute with: your hand activity or another scribble bird. So yeah, Lisa's still doing it. I love it. I love it. So Lisa, what do you think that you'll fill your hour with? Do you know yet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to let myself take a 20-minute nap, and then I'm going to get up and walk my dog, and we'll spend the full hour between napping and walking the dog.
So walking a dog can sometimes get a little routine, right? So what could we do to make your dog walk a little more playful?
I'm going to bring his favorite ball. He's blind, so I don't usually bring anything. So I'm going to make him play with the ball in the grassy field.
I love it. I love it. So that will have you doing something a little bit different because you'll be throwing a ball. And you'll be using a little bit of different part of your brain because you'll be making sure the blind dog doesn't go the wrong way and taking care of him. I might also encourage you to choose something to make your walk, let's say, thematic. Pick a theme, whatever you're feeling that day, and see how many things you notice that you could make fit that theme as you walk down the street. And
great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else have an idea of what they're going to add to their play schedule? Oh yeah, Shelly, you can do that with any day, right? Just make your day thematic. Maybe wear a certain color for a certain reason. Actually, this one might be kind of fun for you guys. So one of my corporate team recommendations is about building traditions. And one of my Disrupt HR talks, I talk about one of my suggestions is having a superhero day or just somebody you emulate. And so everyone on the team chooses who they want to be, whether it's like the Hulk or Maya Angelou, whatever your definition of hero is. And you kind of pretend to be them all day. So internal emails, of course, for corporate teams, but maybe you like when you're slacking each other, like you would write it as if Maya Angelou was writing it and not Lisa, or, pretend to just make it either catchphrases all day is how you sign your emails or something. And you can do that on your own at home. Maybe write your first draft of a cover letter as if you're the Hulk. Maybe don't submit that one. Maybe it depends on the company, but you can make your own day thematic. Federico, a bike ride is perfect. Even just a short one, like even a really short one, especially in Colorado, some sunshine, just pop outside. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. You don't even have to get sweaty, right? Just a few minutes of it. Linda, I was going to ask you if you could think of like a, painting at the beach is not a Thursday afternoon, any old week kind of activity. So what's a way we could draw it down to make it more accessible for you? She's typing. She's going to tell. She's already got an idea. I love it. You guys be thinking of ideas too for yourself for those big
Well, I do a lot of walking, but sometimes I just skip. Or I walk.
Skipping is fantastic.
Or I just walk sideways.
Yep.
Or I go to the playground and I swing. And honestly, I laugh and people look at me, but I do not care because it breaks up that day. So, or I do ecstatic dancing, or I'm
love it
doing some type of fun. For everyone out there, movement during this time and thinking how you can be more creative. How can you gamify your interview, your STAR? Maybe it's a home run and you're thinking about, like, my team and I just did interview training yesterday for one of our companies in DC, and we had 20 people who focus on baseball camps. And so we did this whole gamify of how do you do your interviews in a gamified way. First base is your situation and task, right? Second base is all those actions you took. Third base is your results, and the home run is having a complete star. So maybe that'll help all of you to gamify. How do you slide into, like, we try to make what we do more fun, because the drone, the ghosting, all of the negative emotions, the toxicity of where you came from, that's enough to drive anyone bonkers. So Acey has definitely shown the proof of the neuroscience behind it. And I love making the plan of scheduling it. Listening to a podcast that might be completely different. What other ideas are you guys coming up with? I'd love to see more in the chat or just more ideas from you. Don't be shy. This group doesn't like to play at all, Acey.
They did. They've been playing the whole time.
I could sit my
all right. So yeah. Perfect. And actually, Linda, I think that could end up being sort of a really cool result, right? Because it's likely going to be a whole different piece than if you were just sitting down to do it all at once. That could be really cool. Standing on one foot. Yeah. So curb walking is also fun. I have to be careful. I do have insurance, but if you have a bad back, don't do that. Right. Please know your own body when recommendations are given. Cool. Keep them coming in the chat. I have just one little final word on resiliency. Kind of the definition. We mentioned it already, adaptability at the beginning. Resiliency is just about bouncing back from setbacks with adaptability, a positive outlook, and perseverance. And to have solid resiliency, we need what? Emotional intelligence, problem-solving skills. And in general, it's easy to lose our resilience because during times of high change and chronic stress and adversity, what you guys are potentially all experiencing right now, the play and the playfulness triggers the very neurochemistry that you need to enhance adaptability, problem solving, creativity, and stress relief. You can tap into that positive outlook that you need without having to fall into toxic positivity and just mantraing it. It just incorporates itself because of the neurochemistry, the dopamine, the serotonin. You're boosting your energy on those days where you feel completely depleted. And most importantly, the play allows you to remain in touch with who you are, because a lot of times in these kinds of situations, we can really start to feel lost and a bit disconnected from ourselves. So that play is there to tether you to your core. And that's what really matters. So that's my presentation. We got some really cool play things. I like it. Listen, Ada said, I like to see salt, but somebody with equal weight. Okay. That's an amazing structure to that, because it really is important for it to be more fun. I love that a lot. Are you guys seeing these chats? Because you might want to, I don't know, screenshot them or write them down, because there's some really good things all the time. Oh, Suzanne, this is my favorite question. One of them. I have a lot of favorite questions. I'm ADHD. I don't have favorite anything. Anyway, playing with kids. Asterisks, right? Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach, there We Can Do Hard Things. A couple of weeks ago, she said, play with your kids is not play, it's work. And I fully support that. There are parents out there who might enjoy the type of play that their kids do. My son and I love to hike together. We love to ski together. We like to play chess together, card games, board games. But he used to always ask me to be the princess when he was a dragon, and I could not. I just don't do the imaginative play. So if you're able to find something in playing with your kids that truly is personal to you, brings you joy, all of those 8 characteristics, right? Then yes, it can be play, but most of the time, play with your kids, it will not be enough for you to really get the neurochemistry benefits that you need. So I definitely do encourage you to play on your own. Plus, for parents, working parents, stressed out parents, sometimes just that alone time is really crucial too. So thanks for asking.
So I play pickleball a little bit, and I use the racket, and my 12-year-old and I have these pickleball counting competitions.
Oh yeah.
And it's so much fun. Like my 16-year-old and she likes crystals. So I'm like, I guess the crystal. And we laugh. Another thing might be to combine animal names, like flaming hippopotamus or
Flamingopotamus.
Flamingopotamus. Yeah. Like a ladybug and a pug together. Like,
I love it.
Make up funny stories. That's how sometimes my clients will see, like, is she serious? Yes, because I'm always trying to bring movement and play. And so thank you, Acey.
You're welcome.
Love the I still have my I can't make a who out there can make a paper airplane? Show us your paper airplanes out there.
Mine are always terrible. I've gotten better at the hand thing, but not at paper airplanes.
Right? Creativity is where your true essence comes out. Thank you, Bridget, for saying that you are thinking more creatively. Because when you're stuck in this job search and you're stuck with these thoughts and you have come from a toxic environment, literally go find a high school or middle school that has a big football field or just an area or a park, and just do like a half burpee, like lean down, go up, lean down, go up. The more movement that you can add to your day, you can do yoga by Adrienne, you can make paper airplanes, you can make pancakes with smiley faces on them, you can go get a tennis ball. How are you going to gamify your job search? I gave you an example of you're hitting a home run. The stars is first base, is the situation. The second base is the actions. The R is the third base, results. How can you think about how to have more fun in your job search? So I'd love to just hear some of the takeaways in the chat. And what are you going to do to either get more movement, more creative, more stimulating, have your interest interviews or your information interviews be more entertaining? Humans like to hear about being from other humans. I just had a meeting today from 8:30 to 9:30, and I learned that this gentleman and I are on the same, we're on paleo. We do the paleo diet. And we were talking about some of the funny things that we've learned around that. So our hope at Colorado Career Connectors is that you found joy, that you are connecting more, that your dopamine, all of those, your resiliency through this time, go out and make more paper airplanes. What questions do you have for Acey or me or Lisa or any of our recruiters on the phone?
I'm trying to find my stop share button and I cannot. So any minute now, guys. But go ahead with questions. There it is.
Okay, well, we're going to end up a little bit early. Acey, thank you so much. Go
You're
buy
welcome.
yourself something. Go make more paper airplanes. But bring some fun, creativity, entertainment, stimulating curiosity to be able to navigate this in a different way. If I can personally help you, I am more than happy to do a discovery session with you. I will put my, I think I have my calendar link for you. Let's chat. Next month, we are having Andrew Hudson talk about springing into action. If Andrew Hudson's name doesn't sound familiar, he is a prolific job search list here in Colorado. He has been doing it for over 25 years, and we're very lucky to have him. Then in May, we are having Barbara Brooks and Janine Vanderberg talking all about aging. Whether you are young in your career and you're trying to move up the ladder through promotions or advancements, or you are over 45 and you're having trouble because of ageism, our entire month of May is going to be focused on ageism, the stereotypes, the myths, how to get through it, how job seekers can use that energy to get through all of that, how employers can do better in job descriptions, do better in how we hire holistically and multi-generationally. So be sure to join us, especially in April. You will, if you have not looked at Andrew Hudson's job list, it's ajhl.com. He's a hard speaker to get. I'm super excited about having him in April. Spring into action. Lots and lots of tips for you as a job seeker. You will see more coming out from Colorado Career Connectors. We're actually going to be sunsetting our nonprofit, and all of our meetups will just become under Best You Talent Advisors. So more on that throughout the summer. But thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to meet one-on-one with me or any of my team, please let us know. I do have 2 recruiters who also do some coaching. And if you need more support, just reach out to someone on this. Have fun, enjoy being creative, interesting, stimulating, and try to think about how to gamify your job search. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. I'll be on for a little bit. If you have any questions or just want to have some suggestions on anything. Acey, thank you. It's also so awesome to have you. And if you guys are getting roles and need a more playful work environment, Acey is amazing to bring into your work culture. She is the expert on how to have better flow, abundance, productivity, and performance in the workplace. Thank you. We'll see you in April. Take care.